But here's our lineup, and I have the absolute pleasure of being joined now in the commentary box by Danny Hansen, Paralympic silver medalist from the USA. Danny, it's a real pleasure to have you here. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited. This is going to be really exciting, especially since the course is kind of new now for all these athletes. So we're going to see how they take on these different buoys, this different buoy placement, and all these waves.
Tension-filled moment.
Yeah.
There's Christine Cavallo for the USA's Next Level Rowing.
That's some good boat handling right there.
Who was that? Was that Chris back?
And Mike Herman.
Super. Well, we start to see them get underway, and it'll be tough to see who the early leaders are at this stage.
The fact that you can barely see the buoy from this live stream tells you a little bit about how difficult it is as an athlete to be turning around.
Yeah, that's right.
That thing.
That's right. What's going through your mind if you were racing up towards that first turning point here?
Yeah,
18 boats.
Got to keep your eyes on that buoy for sure. Make sure you lock into it, and then from there, really looking at your boat handler, there you can see them steering right there in Finland.
Yeah, the Finnish athlete Eeva Karppinen from Finnish Coastal Rowers. They've had some fast starts, the Finnish athletes, but we'll have to pick out who these early leaders are. That's Monika Dekarska on the left in the green deck. So alongside her, that might be Diana Dimchenko from Azerbaijan Baku Rowing Club. She was world champion in 2017, 18, 19. Triple world champion, Diana Dimchenko. Silver medal, though, for the last 2 years. So she'll be looking to make amends for that here today in this A final for 2023. Diana Dimchenko on the right there with the green deck. And alongside her, I believe, is Claire Jameson. You can see that the wave's starting to pick up, bouncing our camera boat all over the place here.
Yeah, it's already looking pretty choppy out there, and this is really tight-knit competition. I feel like anything can happen between here and that first buoy. Goal is to be the first one around the buoy. If you're second, third, or fourth, there's bound to be a clash, so we'll see what happens.
Here we go, a few distances from the GPS. Claire Jameson out in front, racing for the Mumbles Amateur Rowing Club. Just ahead of France 1, where we've got Jessica Behra. She was the world champion back in 2022, last year. So the reigning world champion from Endaika Arun El Kartea. Currently holding second place ahead of Austria 2, where we've got, from the Austrian rowing team, Jette Ringleb. Really good start from the Austrian, out there in front of Monika Dekarska.
If you take a look at all these bows, you can see the bows moving up and down pretty drastically. I don't know if the water's really helping with the speed out here right now.
No, it really is. And through the B finals of this morning, just the diagonal angle of the waves coming in. Oh dear.
Looks we got like a little clash back there.
Yeah, that was a boat stop of that, wasn't it?
Yeah. A couple stops. I don't know if that looked like that was the USA clashing. I can't tell who the red boat is there. Oh wow.
Yeah, tricky, isn't it?
Yeah, that's tough.
It's a beautiful set of lots of different colours, but we've asked for them to put bigger Toblerones on the bows so that we can read the numbers better. The problem is, if you make them any bigger, they catch the wind that much more and they start to act like a sail. So keeping the boat straight becomes that bit trickier.
Yeah, anything added to the boat is definitely going to affect the boat speed here, especially in this kind of wind. Even the PDFs having their moment.
Well, let's try and pick out for some of the audience here. The red boat at the front, that's Claire Jameson from the Mumbles. Green boat in the bottom right, that's Jessica Behra, France. Green boat in the middle, that's Monika Dekarska for Killorglin, Ireland. So at least those leading three are pretty clear. And then it's going to be Henrietta Ringleb of the Austrian rowing team, currently in 4th place. So... And then it's just an absolutely stacked field in the middle. I love watching solos racing, though, because it's like, this is where everything, there's nobody to blame but you when it comes to this, unless you've got a technical issue.
Yeah, and then a lot of the athletes yesterday were getting some forearm massages. It's hard, I feel like, to be wrestling these types of waves, especially now for more meters here, 6,000 meters about, right?
It's a long course, right,
yeah.
Danny? I mean, 6K is, I mean, will be interesting to see what the times look like, because the 4K course was, anywhere around 20 minutes.
Right.
But they'll know exactly how their forearms have been burning from the 4K course. What can they do differently? I mean, Christine was telling us yesterday that she basically rode the second half of her race with square blades.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you kind of got to do. Forearms do a lot with the feathering, and then you're just getting whipped around out there with wind, and then just, you know, you're not facing the waves, so they're just hitting you unpredictably. And you could see actually the boats from this angle kind of disappearing every once in a while with the waves, so it is pretty chaotic out there. I can only empathize with how they must be feeling in the first part.
Then you have a big rib cut through the middle of the...
Yeah, even that jet ski's looking unstable.
Here comes Dukaska now. We're coming up to the first turning point, 1,250 meters for the first turning point. That hasn't changed as we move to the long course. Dukaska now moving up past Jess Berra, and Jess Berra also moving up past Claire Jameson. So Jameson for Great Britain, representing Mumbles ARC, currently now dropping back into third place.
Ireland's feeling pretty good. Her birthday's coming up, so this is for the birthday.
You're right. 18th of October, Monica Dukaska. Wouldn't it be good if she could go into her birthday with World Championship title? She hasn't had the crown since 2016. So she's been racing, though, in the coastal stuff since like 2009. So when it comes to the experience out there on the coastal water, few have more than Dukaska.
Ireland's been pretty consistent as well throughout these races, so
yeah,
excited to see how she's doing.
Dukaska won in 2016. She also won in 2009, so her first world title in the women's solo was back in 2009, where she beat Margie Jorgensen and Denise Tremoul.
Coming up on this first buoy, this is going to be really exciting to see how they take this turn, and then what boats end up kind of getting the, you know, short end of the stick here.
So what would be going through your mind here? If you haven't made it to the turning point first, are you going to try and push down that long straight leg, the 1,500 meters?
I mean, for here, I feel like you got to keep your head on a swivel to kind of see, like, where is there an open lane, where is there an opportunity. This kind of decision needs to be made in about a split second, so instincts definitely take over. You're going to see the athletes who have the most experience in these kind of races kind of coming up well. In this moment. Oh, look, so there goes Christine Cavallo coming around. Wow. Yeah, this is tight. This is tight. And you can see the wind is not helping at all. You can see the white water kind of coming off the bows here. Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is...
pushing them the opposite way.
What a good start, though, for Dukaska and Berra. Moving up through Jameson. I wonder if we're going to see a response from Jameson anytime soon.
Wow. Yeah, they're close. France is making a move. You can see boat speed increasing. You can just tell. Yeah, her boat speed's a little faster here than Ireland, and she's utilizing that right here.
Yeah, Jess Berra, the three-time world champion in the women's solo. She won last year, and she also had 2 wins from back in 2014 and 2015. So 2014 and 15, who were in Thessaloniki in 2014. Very, very different scene there. Harbour wall just created such a chaotic wave formation, and then she won again in Lima, Peru. Beautiful scenes from Lima, and she's still demonstrating she's on the action when she won last year. So she's got her title to defend.
Ireland's boat speed just picked back up. See what she does with that.
Yeah, so now that they've made that corner, they are going with the waves. And but we saw through the course of the B finals this morning how it almost looks like they've ground to a halt. You know, their boats just look so much slower than when they're on that leg up to turning point 1. And it's quite tough to read which ones are able to take advantage now that they're going with the swell.
Yeah, I feel like it's a tricky situation when you're going against the wind, but with the waves, I feel like athletes with more surfing experience are going to definitely figure out how to utilize that more quickly to their advantage.
So Dukaska just holding out in front of the field here, but Finland getting into the action. We can see here that's Eeva Karppinen of the Finnish Coastal Rowers on the bottom left of the picture there. Jess Berra out in front, then Dukaska, and then that looks like Diana Dimchenko for Azerbaijan, currently in 4th, ahead of Eeva Karppinen for Finland.
Ireland just picked up a wave and completely moved it out of the screen.
Yeah, that was quick, wasn't it?
That's what surfing can do for you. It can definitely add to your boat speed, and if you know how to keep holding on to it, you're going to be able to take that advantage for more than a few meters for sure.
Yeah. Jess Behra, though, real class of her own out in front. I think that's going to be the race on. We've got Diana Jimchenko somewhat off the pace. I mean, I think that might be a bit too much of a margin. 40 meters to the front of the field where you can see Dukarska and Behra battling for France and Ireland at the front.
Yeah, this might come down to the sprint.
Yeah.
They're staying real close. Boat speed switching up. Who's faster in the top two? But the competition's spreading out here now. You can kind of see this is like I said earlier with the wave surfing. You kind of see who's really capable of taking advantage of that. A lot more meters in between boats here. Spreading out. The field's spreading out. Oh, you can see Austria surfing a wave right there. Just took about 5 quicker strokes there to catch that wave and stay on it. Right now, the sun glare is definitely going to be an obstacle in terms of seeing the buoy. You can see I just turned around to try to check and see where her course is. A lot of athletes can't forget your sunglasses here.
No, well, absolutely. And it's tricky, especially in the morning races where the sun's just rising up over the harbour wall.
Yeah.
Chatting to some of the athletes the other day, they were saying that they use the harbour wall almost more than the buoy because they can't see the buoy for the reflection of the glare on the water. So they're using a harbour wall to start with until they get a bit closer, which is why they fan out so much. Look at this, the distance between Dukarska and Behra. They're a good 30 meters apart here.
And I think it might be even a strategy to be second here and just turn around and be able to see where the top boat is navigating, because you're more likely to be able to see the boat in front of you than the buoy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Following that nav, it's like a little GPS.
Yeah, we can see here that's Siri-Eva Christensen. But this is a great couple 100 meters here for Dukarska getting back to the front of the field. We'll see how the back of the pack fans out, coming up towards turning point 3. I say coming up towards it. It's obviously a lot further along than it was for the 4K course. So this is a 1,540 meter section that they've got to close in. And you can see that the buoy is still a lot further off in the distance. It's right up by that marina wall, and that's why they've been using the lighthouse as the marker. You can see the buoy's pretty much in front of the lighthouse there. Right. So it's been a good silhouette for them to use as part of their navigation.
That's helpful.
Yeah.
You can see the pivot that, is this Ireland here?
That's Behra, France.
France, yeah. France just made a big pivot. I think she turned around and noticed that she was just a bit off. The wind's definitely pushing against her. Made a big pivot there. A couple strokes on starboard side to move to port slightly.
Yeah, and look how fanned out the field is. It's really spread quite a lot across the track or the racing line. But the course now having changed, they're going to move from when they get around this turning point 3. They've then got a 450 meter section down to turning point 4. Another 450. So it's a few 450 meter sections moving around the coastline. They'll follow the harbour wall down towards the beach. They'll run along the beach for a period before going through a number of chicanes for a total of 10 turning points compared to the 7 in the 4K course. Dukarska, though, really going after this now. She's opened up a good 30, 40 meter lead on Jess Behra along this straight. I feel as though that's her just able to slightly better use those waves. I mean, both of these athletes, amazingly experienced coastal rowers, but Monica just seems to have got the better run on it.
Yeah, you can definitely see, when you see her pick up that stroke rate, that's definitely her surfing a wave. She's definitely taking advantage of the chaotic conditions that are going on out there right now. You want to be excited about waves. You don't want to be...
You can't be intimidated by them, can you? When you're this far out at sea, they've got to be something you use and take advantage of.
Yeah.
And that's the fun thing, isn't it? When you see those that have just gotten into coastal rowing, as they go on that learning curve of managing the waves so that when it lifts their stern, it doesn't pivot them around. That's the real art to it. We saw that last week in the beach sprints when an experienced coastal athlete has their stern raised. How do they handle not getting spun round and basically getting stopped as they go perpendicular to the wave?
Dukarska has a beautiful point right here. She's headed straight for that buoy. She's not taking for granted any inches. She's gonna nail that. I mean, looking like her blade's going to be just maybe even brushing that buoy, which is exactly what you want. Yeah, that's amazing.
A stunning line.
Fabulous.
Stunning, stunning line. And then Jess Barrett coming around for second. So now they're really going to be forced into single file. This makes the overtaking so much harder, though, don't you think, Danny?
Yeah, for sure. But anything can happen. I mean, it is a risk when you're pointed at the buoy with that close of a line, because one wave could push you up to 30 feet depending on the wind conditions. So. Yeah, you don't want to miss a buoy either. You don't want to go on the wrong side, otherwise that's a big penalty, and that's going to affect your overall time drastically. So.
Yeah. Now they're going sort of perpendicular to the wave direction. They're sort of going along the wave rather than having the ability to surf it.
This is where that forearm strength comes in. You got to make sure your forearms aren't getting too tired, because that's a pretty small muscle taking such a big beating.
It is, isn't it? I mean, all those micro adjustments they've got to make just to keep that boat straight. You can see they're not quite perpendicular to the wave direction, which means that the bow is just rolling over each one. And the only way to compensate from that is adjustments in your strength and pressure through each of the two blades.
You're going to see her turn around here in a minute, I bet. She's going to have to take a couple hard ones on starboard to get that point back.
Yeah.
But she's really leading the pack really well.
So they'll all be following her, basically.
Yeah, I think they're going to be turning around. Like, she's so close to the buoy line. Really good navigation that it's almost helpful for the other athletes that are behind her.
Beautiful scenes here in Barletta. They're around turning point 3, the majority of them, making their way down to the bottom of the picture there where you can see turning point 4. And then they'll make their way down to turning point 5, which is just on the beach's edge.
This wide shot really shows you how large this arena is.
It's huge, isn't it?
Yeah, every boat's a tiny little speck. Yeah, she's going to have to make sure she gets around that buoy on the right side here. That wind is not helping. The waves are pushing her over. It looks like she's going right into the waves rather than taking them across. So let's hope she turns around in time to make it on the right side of that buoy.
Yeah, so she's got, well, she's going to go left around this buoy.
Oh, yeah, she is.
To go around to turning point 5, which is up in the distance, where she's got 400 meters to get up that way.
There we go. She's got it. She's looking good here. And you can see she's taking this one a little bit wider, but not actually, because she knows the waves are going to be pushing her closer to the buoy. So she understands the risk she's taking. She understands how the waves are going to be managing her boat in an uncontrollable way. So she's taking control of that.
Now coming around turning point 4.
Wow.
Dukarska in the gold medal position ahead of Jess Behra, currently riding for silver. And then we've got Eeva Karppinen for Finnish coastal rowers, currently in the bronze medal slot ahead of Diana Dimchenko, the 3-time world champion from Azerbaijan. Oh, it's a tricky line here, I think.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh, having to turn around, realizing that she's gone the wrong side of that buoy. This is exactly why course knowledge is just so critical.
That was a pretty quick correction, though, I will say. That did not take a lot of time. She's holding on to her position here in the lineup. That was really well taken care of, I think.
Very lucky by Diana Dimchenko. And then I think we've got Claire Jameson for Great Britain's Mumbles Amateur Rowing Club in 5th at the moment. So work to do to get into the medal positions.
This is exciting. This is wild. And then we got a close. It's a lot of boats really coming in close for the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th positions over here. That's going to be one heck of a buoy turn.
Yeah, there's the leading 4. So Azerbaijan's Dimchenko just losing out a little bit of water to Finland in a possible medal position there. She'll be kicking herself for that. It is tricky remembering your way around what is a 10 turning point course, and the distances between them. What do you think would go through your mind there, Danny, when it comes to, now they're into these shorter segments? Will you be putting in a solid push to each buoy, or what would your race strategy be for that?
I mean, I think preparing early and just remembering, okay, it's right, left, right, and just remembering that in your head and trying to follow along. There's not a lot of like thinking that has to be done out there rather than instinct. So you're really going to rely on things that you've practiced. But yeah, I think just like memorizing a new course is pretty tough, especially when you're in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah, and it makes the navigation so tricky, right? Because you've got to look for a buoy, and you see 3 buoys off in the distance, all at slightly different angles to you. I suppose that's where your perspective really comes in, and how you, your sort of spatial awareness to understand where you're moving around this tricky course.
Yeah. I mean, it's not easy. All these athletes have gone through the shorter course a few times already now, and having it change for their A final that's tough.
Yeah, that's right, because they've done the heats already in the shorter course. But they've still got to get around these chicanes coming up as they come in to row along the coastline and sort of zigzag their way around the buoys. So that's the leaders around turning point 5. Dacasco extending to a huge margin now, so looking pretty comfortable at the front of the field ahead of Jess Berra for France. And then in 3rd place, we've got Eeva Karppinen. This could be a good result for Finnish coastal rowing, a bronze medal here at the 2023 World Rowing Coastal Championships.
That's very exciting. Coming around, they must be thinking, wait, when is this course over? You can see, if you're looking at the speed here, you can see you can kind of guess by when those numbers pop up who's just caught a wave and who's caught on the wrong end of it.
Yeah, this is great. Now we can see Diana Dimchenko for Azerbaijan. She's closing in on the Finnish athlete, so I think she'll have been so frustrated by missing that buoy that she's putting the work in now. Although just as I say that, look, the gap's growing. So it's all chopping and changing really between bronze and 4th position, but Dacasco running away with it. She's got a commanding lead over Jess Berra now.
Really?
These two have been adversaries for a long time, and this is an opportunity for them to settle it out there on the water. But Danny, I hope you've had a great weekend. What have you been up to while you've been here in Barletta?
Yeah, I'm having a great time. I've been doing a lot of, I've been making a lot of hype videos for some athletes on Instagram, and that's been really fun. Just getting out, taking some time from competition and just going and playing in the water and just like realizing all the personalities that these athletes have that I think coastal rowing definitely allows people to express more often. So that's really exciting. But yeah, getting to know all these athletes off the water has been just like so fun. Everyone's so charming and friendly, and you say they're adversaries on the water, but it's wild to think that because of how friendly everyone is on the beach.
Yeah, that's so cool, isn't it? I mean, the vibe here in Barletta has been amazing, and it's pretty consistent at all of the coastal events we go to, because it is like a little traveling family of athletes who all know each other. They've all been competing with each other for so many years, but then they also help each other out with the boat handling and moving their boats around on the beach, which is tough because they weigh so much. Yeah. And it's really good and friendly fun, and then they throw it all out there on the water in such a fun way. But Jess Berra is currently in that silver medal position. She's got work to do to close on Dacasco.
Which buoy is the sixth buoy here?
Yeah, that's coming up for 6. That's right.
That's in your head when you're saying, okay, this one you gotta turn to starboard.
Yeah, exactly. And the next one, 7, is probably the sharpest angle that they've got to take. So this is a 460-meter run up to turning point 7.
Yeah, and let's not forget the different, how deep the water is definitely affects the speed. This 6 buoy is probably going to be a little bit more shallow, I think. So you're going to see a little bit of a drop in the boat speed here when the seafloor is a little closer to the bottom of your boat.
Yeah, also different wave formations, right? Because as the waves come up towards the shore and they get lifted up out of the deep water, they get that a little bit spikier. The wavelength shortens compared to the bigger rollers that they'll be moving up towards now as they push away from the shore again up towards turning point 7, which is a sharp angle. I think they should be all right going around it though, because they're so strung out they shouldn't crash into the stern of each other. Yeah,
you can see this little choppy reverb coming up from the seafloor here. A little bit more, probably a little bit more waves hitting your blades more often here, but they're a little bit smaller. So, to each their own. I don't know who likes that more than the big rollers. It really depends on what you're used to, what you've been training, where you've been training.
But it's so true that, isn't it? It's like when you look at the flat water variation of rowing, elite athletes like yourself, you can spot when you're like a centimeter away on the catch. When you miss the catch by like fractions of a centimeter, you know it. Here, it's fractions of a foot.
Yeah, for real.
The margins are so much more. If you get 3/4 of the stroke through, you're pretty happy.
Yeah, compared to flat water rowing where you kind of want to keep it really cyclical, keep your hands level. This one, you really got to drop those hands pretty far down to the gunnel in order to clear all these waves. And with the unpredictability, facing backward, basically, them coming at your back. You really never know when your blade's going to get slapped, so that's where that forearm strength comes in. You got to keep that grip on. You lose a handle, especially in these solo boats, that's going to be pretty tough recovery.
Really hard work. Yeah, absolutely right. I mean, just responding to the wave movement just burns up your little muscles. And this point here, right? By now they'd have finished the 4K race, so
yeah.
This is all extra.
Yeah,
this is all our bonus material.
New territory. So we're going to see how these athletes handle it. Obviously, we haven't seen anything this weekend on how they've been able to handle like this length of a race. So we're going to see some new portions of their personalities, their athletic personalities coming out in this last 2K.
And this is where they've got to go deeper into the locker, right? If they want to change the
yeah.
color of their medal or even get into contention for one. Diana Dimchenko, she's closed right in on Eeva Karppinen of Finland, so we could see a nice little battle for that bronze medal here.
Yeah, and the mental aspect here is going to be brutal. We got athletes just like, you never really know what you're going to hit, so you got to stay flexible. You got to stay calm. Be one with the water over here. Say thank you rather than, oh no.
Yeah, you're so right. It's one of those things where the mental attitude and to work with the waves rather than be frustrated by them and try and work against them, which you don't stand a chance of winning, do you?
No, and you got to find the silver lining in every obstacle here. And you got to do it quick, because any time spent upset out here is going to be time added to your speed.
Well, they're coming towards turning points 8 and 9. These were turning points 5 and 6 in the 4K course. So this is the chicane, 170-meter chicane between what are now turning points 8 and 9 before that same run-in around what's now turning point 10, 340 meters and then 350. So at some point soon, they're going to have to start thinking about emptying the tank here, Danny, wouldn't you say? This is the sort of run-in to the beach where you, for example, in that battle for third, Diana Dimchenko now pulling up alongside Eeva Karppinen of Finland. That's the battle for the bronze medal, and there's only a couple of meters separating them here.
You got that quick turn, and then we got two buoys that are very close to each other. So we're going to see, like, you got to be right on your steering. Whereas when the buoy's a little farther apart, there's a little bit more grace in terms of the navigation and your line. But when you have buoys that are so close to each other, like buoys 8 and 9, you got to be really quick to make sure you're making those adjustments before that buoy pops up right behind you.
And if you're in the front like Tokarska is at the moment, what's going through your mind? It's a case of it's mine to lose now, so you've just got to...
Yeah, I mean, she's probably thinking about, she's been very consistent, especially in her speed, making sure that you can see that, you can just feel the hyper focus coming out of her brain right here if you're just watching it. But I think she's probably thinking about, stay consistent, stay calm, make sure I'm taking my strokes, make sure my blades are entering the water. You can't let anything shake you out here, especially when you're in the lead. Anything can happen in coastal, so you got to make sure that you're controlling the controllables and relaxing at any obstacles that are coming your way.
I love it. Control the controllables, and then the rest is you've just got to sort of forgive yourself for external influences that you can't control and do your best with what you can.
Yeah, nothing is a problem here. Nothing is a problem.
Looks like Dimchenko's moved up into bronze medal position. Karppinen's going to be struggling with that mentally now because it will be a case of emptying the locker against the three-time world champion, Dimchenko, who'll be frustrated to find herself in the bronze medal position. She's starting to close in fact, on Bera.
Yeah, it's going to be tight for third and fourth here. That, yeah, when the last medal's on the line, it can get a little bit crazy. We'll see what kind of aggression comes out. But you got to have a calm aggression out here because you got to remember to move with the water. It's not just you and the boat; it's you and the boat and the water, and you got to make sure that those three aspects are working together in harmony.
Tokarska just looks like she's got great run on her boat, though. It just seems to slice through the water so smoothly. It's just been so perfectly adapted to her style of rowing, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you could tell she's been very, very consistent in her speed. She's coming around that 9th buoy right now that's really well navigated, like with the waves and everything. She's going to take a turn here. She's a little further than she was in all the rest of the buoys, but I don't think she's taking any risks out here right now. She's not going to miss one. She's got one more buoy on the line before she heads right to the beach. Then she's got a sprint ahead of her too, so crawling out of that boat, you got to make sure that your legs are fresh and that you can make it. It looks like it's going to be pretty tight between second, third, and fourth now. So we'll see what happens here.
Yeah, so less than 700 meters for Tokarska.
Yeah, second and third.
Here comes Dimchenko. She's reeling in Jess Behra. She wants that silver medal. Jess Behra is going to be feeling a little bit concerned about that. Looking back, we haven't seen much of a response for her yet. Do you think she might have run out of gas?
I don't know. You can never really tell because either you're trying to be consistent or you're just really, really smoked at this point in the race. So, you know, different strategies for different athletes, and depending on where you train, you know, those are the strategies you're gonna utilize. So.
A really fun chat with Jackie Kittle about that the other day. And she was saying that we saw her just racing now, dominating the last of the B finals. That she refers to it like a tube of toothpaste. You can always get that little bit more. There's always that little bit more. You keep squeezing the toothpaste, so when you think you've run out of gas and you've got nothing left in your energy reserves at the end of the race, there's always that little bit more.
Yeah, that's clever. That's where the mentality comes in. That's a good mentality to have, especially right now in this last bit.
Exactly, that's the winner's mentality. But you can see Azerbaijan, Diana Dimchenko's moved into silver medal ahead of the reigning world champion, Jess Behra, of 2022. I think that's closing the door on the chance for Karppinen to come away with a medal for Finland. But what a rapid couple of 100 meters there for Dimchenko.
Seriously. Yeah, Dekarska's speed. Look at her boat speed. It's just so consistent throughout, no matter what the waves are like. That's actually crazy.
We could see a sprint up the beach between these two for that silver medal.
Yeah,
this is nice and close. Dimchenko's moved up into silver. She's got about a boat and a half of length in lead, but they've still got that final turning point to go around, turning point 10.
Yep.
Dekarska's certain for the win, though. This is a 40-meter advantage she's got.
That's a lot. But this is wild with second, third here. We are definitely going to see a sprint to the line at the end. Hopefully, I mean, you know, you never know with rowers. You got sea legs, definitely, but how are your land legs? You're going to see who's going to be able to crawl out of that boat quicker, make it to the sprint across the beach to the finish line. This is going to be close.
Well, the leading three are pretty clear. Just to run you through who's in the trailing places, we've got Diana Dimchenko currently in second, but then behind her, Sirieva Christensen in fifth, Claire Jameson sixth, Carlota Gonzalez in seventh, Lev Kishacht in 8th. Christine Cavallo was in 9th, passing the 4K mark. And then we had Jette Ringleb ahead of Sarah Pigeon, and then Tia Rautala, Senna Yilmaz, Karina Hein, Daria Moronova, Elena Armelli, Kiara Halama, and Bryony Jones. So that's the full lineup coming into the closing stages, but it's looking good for the win here for Monika Dekarska in this A-final of the women's solo.
Yeah, this sprint to the beach is like a breath of fresh air. You got a little bit left, and you know it. Honestly, though, the waves on the beach are looking a little bit bigger than they were yesterday, so we'll see how they navigate. Even just heading into the beach is tricky. You got to keep that focus until you cross the finish line. So you can see her right here. Oh, here she goes. And the boat handlers are ready to go. There's David Hussey, the cox for Ireland, grabbing that boat, getting it out of the way for the next athlete to pull up to the beach, and she's sprinting.
Yeah, Monika Dekarska for Kilorglin Rowing Club, Ireland. She's coming to take the 2023 World Rowing Coastal Championship title in the women's solo. She's delighted with that performance.
Look at her.
Gold medal to Monika.
Congratulations, Ireland.
That's right, and Diana Dimchenko for Azerbaijan. She takes yet another medal in the Coastal Championships. This time it's silver. It was silver last year, silver in 2021. So that's the hat trick of silver medals for Dimchenko. And then Jess Behra, the world champion of 2022, will be leaving with some metalware. She comes across the line for the bronze.
Beautiful. Like, see, that's what I'm talking about, the athlete sportsmanship there. All excited for each other, all excited to be on the podium together. I like that a lot.
So cool. And despite a stunning race, Eeva Karppinen crosses the line for Finland. She'll take 4th place, a fantastic outcome for her here at the World Rowing Coastal Championships. Well, that's the medals locked in that A final for the women's solo. Here's them getting off the start, though. An absolutely rapid start for Great Britain's Claire Jameson and the Mumbles Amateur Rowing Club. But then a very, very swift move through from Monika Dekarska and Jess Behra saw them steal the lead around turning point 1. Going with them, though, Eeva Karppinen for Finland, holding on to that bronze medal position for the majority of the race. You can see this little tussle between Karppinen trying to lock in that bronze medal place. This is Jess Behra, though, as she was leading through that back leg, the back 1,500 meters, but it was Dukarska who dominated at the back half of the course to take the gold medal and a championship title in the women's solo for 2023. There are the official results. Dukarska for Ireland, Dimchenko of Azerbaijan, and Berra for France. Gold, silver, and bronze. Stunning performance from Karppinen, sticking with them for Finland all the way around the course. She takes 4th place in the world, and you can see over a minute ahead of the closest contender. So that battle for the 3 medals between those four athletes, absolutely savage the whole way around the course.
Coastal champion representing Ireland.
Vincitrice della medaglia d'oro e campionessa del mondo Costa Rowing 2023. In rappresentanza dell'Irlanda,
Monika Dukarska.